Today we're going to be installing a factory auxiliary cable in the back of the radio in our E53 X5. Here's our auxiliary audio input kit that is for the E39 and the E53. The first thing we want to do is wiggle the volume knob and pull it straight back. Next we'll open up the CD tray and use an Allen key inserted just below where the radio knob attaches and turn it a quarter of a turn counterclockwise. Then we're going to pivot the radio out towards us from the left side. And we'll remove the plug from the back. Next we want to remove the actual CD player unit itself, and to do this we're going to take our Allen key again and loosen up the Allen screws in the bottom of the CD player. Once those are backed out as far as they can possibly go, we're going to take the CD player itself and wiggle it straight out. There's two versions of the installation for this auxiliary plug. The first version is all we have to do is take our cable and plug it directly in the back of the harness, located right here in the back of the CD player harness. As you can see on the CD harness here, there is already a black plug with two wires in the back of it in that location. So the second version of the installation involves taking the pins and combine all 5 of these wires into place. Okay, so let's take our new auxiliary plug that came with the kit, and basically what we're going to be doing here, there's 3 wires that go into this black plug. And since our car already has this black plug, what we need to do is remove this entire system. So we just have these 3 plugs here with metal terminals on the end of the wires. Then we're going to take those 3 wires and insert the terminals, or the pins, into our existing black plug in the back of the radio. So basically what we're doing here is taking these 3 wires out with their pins, and we're going to insert these into the correct slots on the back of our radio. So first we want to remove the cover from our plug. So we're going to lift up this tab and then slide out our connector. Then we're going to remove these 3 wires one at a time by pressing down the tang on each of the individual pins in the connector. There's 1 here, and there's 2 on the back here. Okay, so we're going to take our small flathead screwdriver, and just as a note, it helps if you take the wire and push it in, because if you have it pulled too far back already, the tang is going to be stuck on the plastic connector. Let's push the wire in. We'll press down on the tab with our screwdriver. And then remove the wire one at a time. So now we're going to find the corresponding pins based on our instructions and insert these into the existing black plug in the back of the radio. So basically what we're going to do here is insert those pins based on this color code right here. Here's the configuration we'll be inserting those pins on based on color. Here's our existing black plug that's in the radio right now, and these are the 2 wires that are already in the back of the radio. Okay, so first we need to get access to the pins in the back of our connector right here. So in order to do that, we're going to again lift up this tab and slide this connector here out sideways. And don't lose this because we're going to need it later when we reinstall the plug. Now, as you guys can see, we have our plug that looks identical to the description in the diagram. We have our black wire with the white stripe in this pin. We have our black wire with the brown stripe in this bottom pin, which is indicated right here on this lower diagram. What we're going to do is skip 2 plugs indicated by the X's marked here, and then we're going to install our 3 plugs that we just prepared into these slots right here. Okay, now remember, according to our diagram, we're going to skip these 2 blocks right here, and we're only going to be using these 3. So according to the instructions, it looks like our white wire with the brown stripe is going to go into where it says the brown is going to go. So that's this bottom connector right here. So let's just slide this into place. We want the pin to face downward. This little pin that we pushed down before is going to face that way. And that is securely into place now. Next we have our white and blue, which is going to go into the pin that says blue. So remember to insert this pin with the tang there facing up. We want that to be accessible for the future, and that would be the access window on the top where we would use our small flathead screwdriver to push down on that tang. This white and blue wire is going to get inserted right here, and this one's nice and secure now. So we have 1 wire left, the white with the red stripe, and for some reason on our instructions this says it's yellow, but it's not, it's actually red. So we're going to put this white with the red stripe in place of where it says the yellow pin would go. Now we're going to take our pin cover back. We want to slide this back in. Now we can reinstall our plug back into its slot right here. So there you have it. Our auxiliary cable is now connected to the harness of the car and can be plugged into the back of the radio. The next challenge we have to overcome is figure out where we want to mount our auxiliary jack. This is the jack where you'll put the 7.5mm audio jack and plug that into your cell phone or your iPod when you're listening to music in the car. On the factory instructions, it has a clever way to mount the wiring into the glove box here. We don't really want to have our connector in the glove box, so we're going to do something a little bit more unique. First, to do that, we're going to have to remove a few more things, including the ashtray here. And we also need to remove our climate control panel right here. To remove that panel, let's just reach in the back and carefully pop it out. And we'll just swing this up out of the way. That's going to give us some nice access in here to run our new audio cable into the cigarette lighter. So let's take our cable and feed it down through the controls. Now that that step is completed, let's take our climate control panel and we can push that back into place. Let's reconnect our plug harness into the back of the CD player. Now we can slide the CD player back into place. We can tighten up the Allen key bolts on the CD player. Let's also reinstall the face of the radio by plugging it in. And we'll slide it into place on an angle, just like we removed it. We'll reinstall our volume knob. The final part of this installation is to drill a hole in the back of this tray so we can feed our auxiliary input jack in through this hole. Then we're going to secure it to the back with a few zip ties. Okay, so we're going to take our ashtray. We already popped out the little side window here, and we're going to route our cable through this hole. Find this accessory bag that came with your kit. Basically, we need the hole to be this size, because we know this is the size that will accept that auxiliary jack. So you want to find a drill bit that fits through this template perfectly. The size of this drill bit is 15/64. So right here is where we want to mount our auxiliary jack. We've already marked it in the center. And we're going to use our 15/64 drill bit to drill through here so we can mount the jack. We're also going to drill a small hole here so that we can secure our cable with one of the zip ties that's included in the kit. Now that we've drilled our new mounting hole, we can insert the auxiliary cable through the side. We'll now attach the lock nut. And we'll take a needle nose pliers and tighten this nut, and be very careful on this step. We don't want to scratch any of the painted surfaces. And finally, we'll take a zip tie and secure the cable to the side. Now we'll feed the excess wire back through and slide our ashtray back into place. Okay, so this is what the finished product looks like, and now we can put our auxiliary cable in. I'll plug in my iPhone. Now we'll hit the mode button here on the end and cycle through until we see aux or auxiliary. There's CD. If you guys are looking to put an auxiliary kit into your factory CD player, I'll put a link to where you can get the kit below. As always guys, thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, please click the like button and subscribe.